Hello, and thanks for joining us on the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of Gen Con and the gaming capital of the world, this is The Established Facts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 107 of The Established Facts. That's right. We are still together. We are still a podcast. We still do things that aren't, in vans or on the go or at a convention. We're actually sitting down at a table to record for once in the last, 3-4 months? Something like that. Anyway, so I just wanted to welcome you guys to our newest episode, obviously. We've had some really fun things going on over the last few months, and a lot of that will come out as the year goes along. Some of the things that we're going to be working on, possibly some YouTube channel stuff, some newsletter review stuff, and things of that nature, connecting with other free. Oh, we have free candy, apparently. Thank you, Lance. We have free candy.
In our van.
In our van. That's right. In our white van sitting in the driveway. Actually, it's Tim's van.
Oh, goodness. That's my husband.
More awkward.
So, as you can hear, we have some new voices on the mic. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and go around the table, starting to my left, because that would be my wife, and do our introductions.
Hi.
Silence.
I wasn't supposed to go first.
You hesitated.
I'm Bonnie. Big Don sexy wife. I'm Kari.
Hey guys, this is Derek.
I'm Dr. Acula.
Ragaar / Jeremy in person.
I'm still Josh.
I'm still Dr. Deb.
And I am still your host. This is Big Don. So, we have been kind of ramping up for this series that we're getting ready to do. This is going to be a proposed 5-episode series. We've been working extremely hard on getting the content. Okay, well, some of us have been working extremely hard.
One or two.
To get the content. Okay, so Debbie has been working extremely
Hey, I have to.
Yeah, Kari has to.
as well.
Yes.
To get a lot of the content that we're going to be covering over the next 5 episodes. We kind of previewed this theme at Fear the Con when we talked about personality with characters and personality with players. And so, more definitively, we're going to be talking about the Meyers-Briggs personalities and how they affect our gaming world, our gaming lives, and encouraging you guys to go out and find out what your MBTI...
that would be Myers-Briggs.
That's right, whatever Myers-Briggs.
Something's T and something I.
Inventory. I just came up with a bunch of words that started with the right letters. I don't know.
You're throwing out initials without your... It's the Myers-Briggs personality test.
Yes, because it's MB...
PT? I think so. There's more
It's
to
MBTI.
it, I know.
Okay,
I just
use
told
your
you.
Google Foo to search for Myers-Briggs
That's right. If
test, and
only there
you'll
was
probably
a
find it.
database online that we could access to find out all of the information that we could ever want to know. Yes, Debbie.
So if you want to go online to www.1616personalities.com or www.humanmetrics.com, both of them will have a Myers-Briggs personality test that you can take
To find your Myers-Briggs
Find your
type
Myers-Briggs type.
indicator.
Whatever.
Just to
You didn't know what it
confirm
was
that's
until you
only
Googled it.
1/16
I know.
and knows a numeric value.
Correct. Only 116personalities.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Debbie, what are the Myers-Briggs
Links will be in the description
Since you're the
below.
ones, you and Kari are the ones who've been doing a lot of the legwork here.
All the gamers are over here like, we just can play our games and then
That's
talk
right.
when you tell us
Letters
to.
and words are hard.
I was really big into this back with work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've never done this at work, mostly because I throw packages. I mean, I move packages at a very quick rate to make sure that nothing is taken or is broken.
I was going to say nothing survives.
That's right.
And I actually had to take this for a class for my master's.
Did you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Josh and I had to do it both for work. We didn't realize we had to do it for work, and then we compared notes and we realized we did. So that's what got us first.
That's because
And I had to do it for college.
work actually sometimes do these personality tests to see, as it's a predictor of how well people will get along together.
Right.
As well as whether they can handle the job.
Right.
How productive they're going to be.
Right.
Not really. It's more along the lines of, is this job going to annoy you enough that you're going to not be productive?
My job was actually associated with learning the degrees of freedom of teamwork, essentially.
Yeah.
So how one
Team-based
personality relates to another personality, and how to get that cooperation.
And I think that's the main key in what we're doing here, because we're gamers, and so by kind of definition, what we do is cooperative. Or, I mean, even when you're playing against someone, it's still that cooperative. There's still the personality, people aspect of it. You don't game alone. Okay, I would game alone, but most people want to game with a group.
Say yes.
Yes, we would game alone. But usually when you're in an RPG setting, you need to work with a team. And so how many of us have had the experience when you're at the table and it's that one person who's just driving everybody else bananas, and you're trying to figure out why is that rhythm off? Why can't this person just join with the group and do what everyone else is doing? It's probably a personality issue. Not to say no one personality is right or wrong. It's just the way they view things, what they see as productive, what they see as fun are very, very different. And so understanding that can be huge, because if you and your GM are just not seeing eye to eye, it could be that you're just personalities and your end goal for the game are different. Maybe you can work that out. Maybe it's not a good idea to game under that GM.
So are you saying, Deb, that, okay, now Fear the Boot has this group template that they have been pushing, don't actually do most of the time, but actually have been pushing for the past some odd years. Should this be an extension of it, where you say, okay, I want to have this type of game, I want to be this type of play of character, and then everybody throws down their personality?
I think it would be fun. I actually played around with the thought that it would be neat to do that, like with our group, and see what happens. We've also thrown around the idea of playing a character that matches your own personal personality. So if you are naturally someone who's very artistic and fun and out there, that play a bard, play one of those very out there characters, and see if you enjoy it, or if see how that interacts in a game kind of setting. I think it would be very interesting. It just ended, it would require the GM the GM would have to be kind of brave to be able to do that one, but I think it would be neat.
Well, if we're doing 5 episodes, though, how are you going to isolate that down to 5 instead of 16? Because of the 4 different personality types times 4, what's your 16?
Well, that was a good question,
What a great
Josh.
leading question, Josh. Thanks. So
Objection, leading the witness.
Yeah, exactly. So, because Myers-Briggs has 4 areas in which 4 areas it breaks personality down into, and each area has 2 extremes. That's 4 raised to the second power, as he said, which is 16 personality types. Well, some guy named Kiersey actually broke it down into 4 groups of 4. They're called the Kiersey temperaments. And what those are 4 personalities that tend to kind of see the world in a similar way. They're not identical. They're very different. But main things like things that make them feel productive, the relationships with each other, what they think is important in life, what they think is not important in life, tend to be on a similar theme. And so this first episode is going to be introduction. We're going to talk about all the aspects of the personality, talk about the extremes so we understand what we're talking about. And then the next 4 each one's going to be a different temperament. So for those of you out there who are interested, I would encourage you, listen to this intro episode, then go on to one of the websites, figure out what you are, and then as you're going through, you can be listening, being like, okay, well, I'm this personality. Sit and listen and see if you connect with what we're describing in the temperaments, and go, oh yeah, that's definitely me. Or maybe it's not you. Maybe you're going, no, that really doesn't match. But it'll make it more interesting for you as you go through.
So he kind of broke it up into cardinal directions?
Yes, basically. Yeah. And we'll get into those a little bit more. We should probably discuss the 4 aspects first before we show how the pairings work. But the pairings are intuitive thinker, an intuitive feeler, a sensing judger, and a sensing perceiver. Within those, all of the personalities fit, and each one of those has a similar theme.
Let's step back for a quick second. When you go through the list,
the list.
What do the letters
like
mean?
the
you
what do
stepped
the
away.
letters
We had
mean?
to-
I quit. You guys don't need me anymore.
I'm done. Flip table.
Just teasing.
Done. All right. So the
I
letters.
never quit.
All right, so
You're
the
actually
letters
fired.
are
Oh, well,
You-
Kara's jumped in.
yes. You have extroversion or introversion. This is not shy or life of the party. It's how you get your energy or how you spend your energy. And then there are sensors and intuitives. So this is
How you get your information.
how you learn, how you get your information. And then there's feelers and thinkers. This is how you make decisions. Do you make them based on your feelings, your emotions, or logic and reason? And then there's perceivers and judgers, and that is, Deb, help me.
That's more how you. It's almost like more like a worldview. Judges prefer things to be straightforward. They like an end goal. They want order. They want things to be within set parameters.
There are rules to the universe.
Yes,
That's
and we
fine.
follow the rules, and following the rules leads to a good end. Perceivers are much more open-ended. They don't. The journey is more important than the goal.
Yeah, don't put baby in a corner.
Right. Don't put baby in a corner. Exactly. That's
You can
a
tell
P.
who the perceivers are on this table.
This sounds like the classic frequentists versus Bayesian models of statistics.
Yeah.
In a way, yes. For those of you out there who know about statistics, hi guys. Yes, and so that
Or
tends,
girls.
or girls. That's true.
And I will say, as a perceiver, perceivers tend to be looked at as scatterbrained, whereas I prefer to think that we look at multiple perspectives and we see the big picture better than we do
evolve.
details.
It is true. If you need possibilities, if you're in a place where you're like, yikes, what do I do? What do I do? A perceiver can give you all sorts of ideas and possibilities. They won't be able to help you make a final decision very well,
That's why you need your judger.
which is why you need a judger. But the perceivers will give you all the
Right,
possibilities.
that ain't our job.
No. So a perceiver and a judger can be a good team as long as they understand each other's strengths and don't have the judger come up with the possibilities and don't have the perceiver decide, because that would be a terrible day.
So I was on Pinterest, and I don't ever get on Pinterest. You can ask my wife. But I was on Pinterest, and there was a young lady who has a Pinterest account. Her name is Kelsey Campbell, and she has a bunch of really cool Myers-Briggs stuff on there, and a few of the things I actually took from her Pinterest and printed off to look at. So a personal plug. Kelsey, you don't know us, but right on. You rock. I love your stuff.
Got similar interests here.
Yeah, and but I wanted to. I had a really cool list, very similar to the one that you just went over, Kari, about kind of the differences. Just like, and it's literally like a couple very short
sentence.
phrases. But it's like so for introversion versus extroversion, you have introversion preference for privacy a lot of times versus extroversion, which is a preference for groups and companionship. Intuition preference for hunches and visionary ability versus sensing, which is a preference for concrete data when making decisions. Thinking, which is a preference for hard facts over feelings, which is a reliance on feelings in decision making. Perceiving, which is a preference for open-mindedness and a casual approach to life, versus judging, which is a preference for closure, focus, and clear objectives. And I think that basically that's just a reiteration of exactly what you said. But I think it's really fun, and these are things that we've been talking about for, probably a year now.
Yeah, it was a year and a half ago when we all started.
And it's just
figuring
fun
it
to
out.
have conversations about how different and yet how much the same a lot of these personalities work. Debbie and I have completely opposite personality types, but we work really well together because where her strengths are, I have weaknesses, and where my strengths are, she has weaknesses, and so we work very well. We complement each other very well when we're trying to actually like lay out the groundwork for something similar to this podcast.
It's
Well, it also depends on how strong you are on each
exactly what I was going to say.
axis, because like I'm very much introverted and I'm very much judger. So the perceivers can frustrate me So, I'll just leave it as that.
Yeah.
They do frustrate you. It's not a can. They do.
Oh, sugarcoating it. Yeah, they do frustrate me.
And
Because
yet
I
we're
just-
all still friends.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
But it's... I make a decision, and that's it. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't care about the 1,000,001 possibilities.
Yes.
There is
one end.
There's
this is
one
where we're
end,
going.
and where we're going to do it, because
That's where we're going to do the thing. So
There is only Zool.
there is only Zool.
Yeah, kind of like what Derek was saying. Like when you take some of these personality tests, they will have percentages of like what percentage you are. It's a preference. Do you prefer to be this way or this way? Do you think this way or this way? Do you make decisions, this way or this way? So for me, just to give you an idea, like I always have trouble with knowing if somebody's a sensor or an intuitive because I'm only like 12% sensing. So that means that sometimes I like all the details, and sometimes I just like the abstract idea of the thing that we're doing, and then people go, what?
yeah. Some people will put that. They call it an X because they're so close between two choices that they aren't really one versus another. Which I know we have someone at the table who tends to roll that way in several aspects of his Myers-Briggs.
Lance?
Yeah, I think I took the wrong test. I took the multiple personality type indicator.
That links into the 16 personalities,
MPTI.
and it becomes the
Yes, I got the
1600
letter
personalities.
Yeah, it turns out that I am 50% extrovert, 50% introvert, which is what's called an ambivert. And I'm 50% perceiving, 50% judging, which I'm calling a trainer. Because I train for different scenarios so that I can do the right thing at the right time.
Nice.
So you're very objective.
I'm an ANFT.
Yes, ANFT. He made up his own Myers-Briggs just for you.
I dig it.
You just broke it.
Yeah,
broke it.
totally did. But it's been fascinating because as we've learned about personalities in just our own group, it's actually helped. I actually think it's helped to avoid some arguments. It has started some arguments, I do have to say, but it's helped to avoid some arguments.
And it might have saved some marriages.
And it might have saved some marriages, just saying. Well, for example, my husband is a very strong extrovert. I am a very strong introvert. And so we actually have a house that suits both of those preferences. Thank God. Because it was up to him. He would probably have people over, I don't know about every day, but every other day to come and hang out and spend time and chill. Well, that's what the ground level of our house is for. We have game room, we have kids room, we have a huge TV. This is the hangout area. Then when Deb needs her away time, she needs to recharge in quiet. She needs a book. She needs her knitting. I need no voices. I go upstairs. We have a loft. We have our bedroom. I can close the door and I can get away. And he knows it's not that I'm mad. I love you all. I just need my space. I need some distance. So I run upstairs and hide, as I say. Bubble up. And he stays downstairs, hangs out. He gets his energy from people. That's how he recharges. That's energizing for him. One of my favorite personal stories, and I'm going to tell it because I think it's funny. When I had we had our daughter a year ago. Right afterwards, I was at home. Obviously, I'd had a C-section, and my husband was off of work. He had gotten paternity leave, which is great. But we didn't have a lot of people over. We had a brand new baby. It was cold outside. I wasn't feeling great. I was recovering from surgery. So it was very quiet around here. There wasn't a whole lot of people coming over and hanging out. I loved it. It was fantastic. It was quiet. I could read. I could play my video game in peace. My husband was going absolutely stir crazy.
He was.
Yes, he was.
Yes. He was absolute. He loves me. He loves Maggie. I know that, but he needed people. And so I remember I think it was about a week and a half after that. And there was something going on. Was it at the church?
BillCon.
It was BillCon. That was what it was. Where they all go. And you've heard about BillCon. And he was like, is it still, can I still go ahead and go to BillCon? And you know what? Even though I did miss him, because we had just had a baby, I knew he needed that because his energy was being drained by all the quiet because he gets his energy from people. And so knowing that can be a huge advantage. It can be a huge thing for yourself and for your friends and your family of knowing it's okay. If your wife is running upstairs and needs her alone time with her crochet, that's how she's getting her energy back. She will be in a better mood once she gets her energy back. So it's okay with that.
Actually, at this point, why don't we go around the table and say what our
Say what the
personal
types are.
yeah.
Our types are.
Okay.
So
I did that already.
Yeah. I was gonna
Well,
say
you're just special.
Lance is an ANFT.
He's all.
He's all. Okay. Do we want to keep going, Ragaar?
So I am an INTJ for my Myers-Briggs type indicator. In addition to this, although I know we're not touching on it for this session or these groups of sessions, but Forte is another interesting system to give another dimension. It's not so much personality styles, but communication styles.
Interesting. That would be something else we may have to think about, because goodness, we have to communicate when we game. So that would be another interesting thing to look into for.
So
future.
again, I'm just an INTJ.
Okay.
I'm the judge.
I am our ENFJ, extrovert, intuitive, feeling judger. I am the diplomat.
I am an ISTJ. I am the inspector, or you can also call me the duty fulfiller.
I am an ENFP, which is, I found has 3 different titles: the champion, the inspirer, and the... Let me find it. I can't remember. I think so far just the champion and the inspirer. Campaigner.
Right, campaigner. I think all of them have like multiple ones.
Yeah.
Just
Depending on which website you look it up.
correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know mine also was referred to as the giver, but
yeah.
The diplomat I really hold strong to because it's just me.
Or I think INTJ can also be the architect.
INTJ is also called the mastermind.
Oh, there we go.
The mastermind.
It's the architect as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with mastermind.
You like that? Yeah, I thought you'd like that one.
Mastermind for $500.
Yes.
Most INTJs like that title. They're like, yeah, that's me.
I know. My brother does.
So there's a ton of different character MBTI 16 personality things that I found online, which I meant to print off to read a couple of them, but I'll have that for a future episode.
Yes.
But I remember looking, and it's like every time you look at the INTJ mastermind, like I looked at a Star Wars one, it's totally the Emperor.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like, it's just like
Palpatine.
I was like, well, I'm like, okay. Yeah. So, sorry, go ahead, Bonnie.
I'm an ISFP, which is introverted, sensing, feeling, perceiving person. And every website that you go to calls me the artist. There's no other title for my kind.
For my people.
But like what you were talking about, I'm 90% perceiving, so I find that part of my personality is really dominant in me particularly, whereas I'm only 4% sensing, so it should. I feel like even within that, what I like about Myers-Briggs is I could probably meet 10 ISFPs and they're not going to be like me.
Right. They're all going to be different. It's also called the composer. I did find the composer is one other name for it, but it's that same idea, that artist creativity.
Yeah.
So I'm a ISFJ. So that's the introverted, sensing, feeling judger. We are probably the most popular Myers-Briggs type. So you'll find us in teachers and nurses and, the working force.
Taking care of people.
Yeah, the caregiver is one of the, right?
The nurturer.
The nurturer,
Yeah.
caregiver. I've seen quite a few different titles for mine. So that's me.
I am like Ragaar, INTJ, but the 16 personality also gave me turbulent. And I just found that turbulent individuals are self-conscious and sensitive to stress. They are likely to experience a wide range of emotions and to be success-driven, perfectionist, and eager to improve. So yes.
So is your T? Do you know how strong your T is? Like, are you closer to feeler, or are you a pretty strong T? Do you even know?
No, I'm actually only, I want to say 20. Hold on, I have it right here.
Oh, there you go.
I am a 4% thinker.
Okay, so you're real close on thinking and feeling. Okay.
Yes, 72% introverted, 16% intuitive, 4% thinker, 26% judger, and 67% turbulent.
Ooh.
What was your introvert? 70 what?
Very
72.
strong. 70s.
Has anybody got higher than a 72%?
100% when I take
Are
it.
you really?
Yeah.
I'm like a 90%. Or
I'm only
80 or 90.
30%.
Yeah. I'm 100% extrovert.
I'm 80. I'm looking it up now.
I would absolutely believe that, Don.
Yeah, I would too.
Very much. Which is funny because we were talking a little bit about how the once we kind of started looking at the Myers-Briggs personalities and how they kind of change the way that you deal with the relationships that you have with people. Because I know from experience that especially early on in our relationship, both dating and being married, a lot of times we get done with the work week and Bonnie would want to just hang out at home and I'd be okay with that during the week, and then Saturday would come around and I'd be like, all right, I have to get out of this house or I'm literally going to go nuts. Because
I remember us having fights about it too, because we just didn't understand that we had that difference in each other. Like,
yeah,
we did too.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm so strong of an E that I can be home for a day and then it's like, okay, I need to get out of the house.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised that an I and an E like that can like really get along, because it almost seems like
it's because all of the other stuff that we have that really helps out, especially the FP.
Okay.
Between the two of our personalities, the fact that we're both feelers and big picture people.
Well, something came up earlier. It's primarily a matter of how you're drawing your energy. Mm-hmm. So in an intimate setting where you're only dealing with a group of 2, maybe 3 people, an introvert would be just fine.
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
well, and I think opposites really do attract, as far as the things that I saw in him that attracted me to him obviously have to do with his personality. I'm not looking for a carbon copy of myself in a mate.
Right.
Not to say that I knew anything about the personalities or the structure between our differences, but I mean, obviously he's a life of the party kind of personality, and I admired that about him because it wasn't something that was
See,
that I had.
on the opposite end, Dan is an INFJ, and I am an INTJ. So, and I'm not very strong on T.
Right.
So,
close to it, yeah.
We are pretty much carbon copy. So, I mean, it's just.
And that can work too, as long as you understand where you both are going to have weaknesses. So having friends or family that can contribute into those aspects of yourself, which you guys don't have as a strength between you both. Since neither of you are real strong T's, being friends with T's, of course I'm a strong T, Ragaar's a strong T. If you need more of a kind of a rational breakdown of something, having those people who can speak into you with those different personalities is important. Because Josh and I are almost complete opposites. The only thing we have in common is our J. We're both pretty strong J. Everything else we're different. And that does lend to butting heads, as all friends know.
Yes, it does.
But it also does lend to a strength, because we come at it from 2 different ways. By the time we get to the final decision at the end, because we're judges, we want a final decision at the end. Once we're there, we're there. He's come at it from feeling, I've come at it from thinking. He's intuitivity it out. I sensed it out. Whatever. We get to the end decision. This is it. We're plowing ahead.
I've thought it out. You've talked it out. That's the intuitive and sensitive.
There. Okay, that's better. That makes a lot more sense.
Right. Apparently, Kari's going to play host for a second.
Okay.
Let's explore kind of what your personality type might like in a game.
Okay.
Like, for me, I like very solo games. I like Sims. I like Assassin's Creed. I like, playing something on my computer by myself. I'm not a big, let's get a whole group of people together and play a game. And I like, Assassin's Creed is kind of unusual for me, but I kind of like the challenge, and I also like running on buildings and grabbing things and just being crazy.
You're an F. You're a pretty strong F.
So, but
Big F.
but I like Sims because it's more of a family thing. It's I take care of the
Sims is an introverted dream.
Yes, it is. I love Sims.
Yeah, if you have a god complex.
Well, many introvert sensors do, actually.
Or
ahead and call
if
me
you
out,
just
Josh.
need to work on the architectural layout of your...
Amen.
That would be
That's what I like about it.
Carrie's... My favorite story is about Sims is Carrie's husband, who's my brother. We played Sims. He built the houses to a T. My favorite to this day is the Clue house he built. He had built an entire house. It was designed on the clue board.
The original Sims was built for modeling the flow of
Yes.
traffic through a house.
Exactly. So he would build them.
Just happened to have good gameplay.
And then I would play inside them, and he would come over and he would check to see how's the flow. Does the bathroom need to be a little bit bigger? Do you want me to move the hallway over here? He would check in on me to see how it was playing through. Like, actually, can you actually move that bedroom over there because I need that to be? Yeah, no problem. And then he'd work on it. That was how my brother and I played Sims together.
So he's an architect.
Oh, he's an INTJ. Yes. Yeah,
He is.
All right.
Yes.
I decided that I am, for my own personality type that I've created, it's a chameleon.
Okay.
Chameleon.
Yeah.
Little bit
because
of everything?
In one situation, I can hang out with all the introverts, can do our own thing. I'm happy to sit at my computer while my family is asleep and just chill and do things. And I really enjoy our game nights where we just come over, we play game after game after game with multiple people. I really get energy out of both of those things. So I'm going to call myself the chameleon.
There you go.
Going along with your question, Kari, I need something highly puzzle based. I need logic puzzles in my games, so that's why I like trading card games and more complicated card games. I like the more complex board games.
Lots of rules, lots of strategy.
Lots of strategy, yes.
Whereas I fly away from those games. Like, no, too many rules.
On the other hand, I also I got into Diablo 3 recently. Dan and I have been playing it, and it's a lot of fun.
I like buttons.
It's also very
button
shiny.
smashers.
What?
It's also very shiny.
It is very shiny. It's extremely shiny, and I
Figuring
can
out what
like
to
make
fit and okay, do I want this one which gives me the extra XP, or do I want that one which gives me the extra strength? Or so there's a little puzzle in it too.
I want the one that has the gold line that goes all the way to heaven. I want that.
You want
Whatever that is.
Whatever.
But yeah, no, that's the type of games I like. And I also enjoy running role-playing games more than I like playing them. Because I feel like I'm more in control and I can direct things versus I have to wait for other... Don, I love you, man. But sometimes when you run a game, I want to just blow stuff up just to make something happen.
I'm totally fine with that.
Do you think that's more...
Don is not scared.
I'm not scared of that at all. Dude, I'm a bee. Blow it up. Let's see what happens.
Do you think that's more of your introversion showing in the game? Because if you're a player, you don't have as much control and you don't really want to speak out, be ah!
Oh no, I have no
That sounds
problem
like a J
speaking
thing,
out.
though.
No, it's
Yeah.
more of a J thing.
Or a thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
more because I want there to be forward progression in a storyline. I am not someone who just likes to Lance
Yes.
gave me a challenge. He said, "Stop talking and let the players talk, and let them role play." Because I tend to go through story points. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And so I stopped talking for each of the 3 groups I was running, and it worked well. But I was so uncomfortable.
The control is slipping through my fingers.
It is.
Okay, so Bonnie.
I enjoy games that I can play by myself. Like you talked about Sims and things like that. I don't involve myself in those kind of games as much anymore because it's easy for me to get lost in that kind of activity. I mean, Sims is literally something that you can do, and then you look up and 8 hours later you're like, oh god, I didn't feed the children. But as far as I enjoy playing games with other people, but I have to have my favorite thing to do when we sit down to play a role-playing game is bring my crochet. Because I have to have something that I can occupy my... I don't know. There's just this other part of my brain that has to do something that I'm just doing by myself and occupy myself in that way. And then I can rear up and be a part of the group and still participate, but I'm not just thrown out there all the time. I have this thing that I can draw away, and then I can come back like in the same session.
What was your feelings on? Because I know Fear the Con was like, it was one. I know you've been to Gen Con, but you went to Fear the Con for the first time. Was it last year?
We've been 2 times now to Fear the Con. I enjoyed that setting so much more than Gen Con. Well, because it's structured in a way that Gen Con, I tend to, maybe because I'm a P, I tend to just kind of float around, and then I jump into a game or I jump into an activity, and there's not so much structure behind my 4 days as possibly other people's 4 days. And I do that on purpose because that's who I am. I don't want to be tied down to I've got a game every hour. But what's nice about having more structure to Fear the Con and a smaller setting is, especially the first year, it forced me to make some friends quick, because if I didn't, I was probably going to lose my mind. Like, the introverted part of me was going to be like, I don't want to be here anymore. So I just, like, attached myself to a couple people, like, we're friends now, because you're going to be my introverted buddy.
Whether you like it or not.
And then within that setting, I could. It felt smaller, and then I could feel free within the structure because frankly, there's no choice. If you're not in a game every slot, then what are you doing there? But I really enjoyed it though, because by the second year, I had made a lot of connections, and they're part of my people now. And as long as they're my people, then it doesn't spend. I'm only 30% introverted, so it's easy for me to adopt people into my safe zone, I guess, if that makes any sense. As far as
now, just as a quick aside, Fear the Con will not be happening next year.
I know,
but DrewCon will, which is the same structure as Fear the Con, except that it doesn't have like all of the frills of like the free beer. It's just focused on gaming. So, and we're in the hotel, so we're like, people don't have to travel to the convention center. They can game and crash.
Right.
So,
well, and no doubt, in Gen Con or Fear the Con, I will go and I will have fun, and then I will still need to have like
a week afterwards. We're like, no people, no games.
Oh God, for the next 2 days, I can't speak to anyone living. Please, someone feed my children.
That are okay.
The irony about that is a lot of us extroverts get the same way, but it's not for like a week. It's like a day.
Whereas the 100% introvert
Really not even a day.
Right. The
It's enough time to
100%
sleep.
introverted.
Right.
And you wake up the next day, you're like, man, my batteries are empty. I need to hang out with people.
Yeah, and the introvert's like, no. We had way too many people. We need time away from all of you people.
It's really tough, like, coming home from Gen Con, not immediately want to just jump right back into a game.
Oh, that's our conversation every single car ride home from Gen Con.
Like,
Is Don
what do you wanna
says,
play
you
when
know
we
what I
get
do
home?"
want you know what I do want to do next year, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Bonnie's like, sleep more.
You gotta stop talking about it right now. We maybe can talk about it
we
tomorrow.
have to plan for the future now. All the introverts are to ride home together, and all the extroverts can ride home together.
Yes, that makes
We'll record the extrovert call.
Yeah, and the introverts won't talk at all. We'll just be staring at the
We'll
signs.
never go home. We'll take a quick cat
Go
nap
to-
in the hallway.
go to Steak and Shake
jump into
and-
a new game.
All right, Don. So, what kind of game gets your ENFP
fancy.
self going?
So, it's really funny because I'm an ENFP.
Clearly, you like going around teaching people games.
I do.
He does.
I really do.
He really
It's
does.
actually...
He's tried to
A
teach
gift.
me euchre like 5 times.
Yeah. And I don't mind
I'm a
doing it at a sixth.
I'm a hopeless case.
We don't believe that, Carrie.
So, that's right. That's right. And I think that being an ENFP, being the champion, being the campaigner, the inspirer, I am literally all of those things all the time. I am always trying to get people into new things. I'm always trying to get... I'm never going to let someone convince themselves that they can't do it.
Hence why he's going to
that's right.
teach me for a
That's
6th
right.
time.
Which is great for me because I hate learning new games.
Yeah.
Hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I have to already know how to play,
Right.
and then I can have fun.
Yeah.
Which doesn't
And-
make any sense, but that...
Yeah. But
She will play Monopoly forever because of that.
one thing that is really synonymous with ENFPs is that they are event people and people. So you can you can play to a lot of different strengths. They're kind of a jack of all trades type of personality. They can jump in and kind of assimilate with whatever's going on at that time. But if I was going to pick like a game to play, it would be a game like Werewolf, where you have crunchy strategy, you have lots of people. Right, Jeremy's on no, not Werewolf.
What strategy?
There are some serious.
Oh
strategy.
yeah, dude! Especially
3
for an
rounds
intuitive, especially for an intuitive, there is a ton of strategy for that game. Being able to sit and just watch how people communicate with one another.
I don't remember where we played this at, whose house it was, but I remember there was a bunch of lawyers and like ex-poker stars
so good
at this thing.
Yeah, and there's no time limit, and you
epic.
play one game in 45 minutes, and everybody has a blast.
Unless you're the first one out.
Unless you're the first one out.
Yeah, it's still
But
fun
that's
to
why you
watch,
always
though.
have a
It makes
video
fun.
game on the side. See, that's my ENFP catering to everybody having fun, because it's like, hey, if you're out, that's okay. Jump into another game. That was always my thing. We used to play for a long time at a little local game store every Saturday night from probably 5 or 6 in the afternoon, evening until midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We would just play hours and hours and hours of Werewolf. But that was always the rule. Once you got eliminated, go sit down at another table, grab a game, crack it open. When the next person dies, go and sit down and play a game. Because you, especially in the first day, if you get lynched, or if you get eliminated from the village, someone is going to be eliminated again very quickly because the werewolves get a kill in the night. So there's at least 2 players that are going to be eliminated before the next round. And so
And that's where Flux came in.
Right, exactly. You can sit down and play a game of Flux. You can play Red Dragon Inn. You can play a game of Magic. There was a lot of Magic players when we played at Gamers. So a game like Werewolf I enjoy a lot, but really I think being an ENFP has really catered to me being able to get into any kind of game. It's the reason why I love playing games like the World War game with Debbie and her brothers, because it's got a lot of strategy and a lot of crunch, and there's 8 players, so it really plays to that extrovertedness. That's why I also like sitting down and playing video games. Now, one thing I will say about playing video games is I can only play them for a short amount of time, unless I'm playing online. If I'm playing, like, for example, Halo multiplayer or Madden multiplayer or WWE multiplayer, I could play for hours, because even though we're not in the same room, I'm playing with people.
The social interaction.
Right, there's a social interaction there. Whereas I talk to people all the time who are like, yeah, man, I sat down and I played League of Legends for like 15 hours every day this weekend. And I'm like,
that's impressive.
I would go crazy. I would literally go nuts. I would break my computer because I was so nuts from not leaving wherever I was and actually being around living people, which is a lot of the reason why I stopped playing World of Warcraft. I enjoyed playing World of Warcraft when my friends were all on and we were all playing together, or way back in the day playing Warcraft 2 when we were all LANing together. That kind of stuff is fun because you're in the same room together. But when you take that community aspect away from the game, I'm not interested.
I'm actually in a middle ground there.
Yeah.
I'm an INTJ, but I know my introvertedness and my extrovertedness. I'm kind of in the ambivert area, and so
Welcome to the dark side.
when it comes to my actual personality, I know I'm an introvert, and I have a tendency to be pretty strongly leaning towards introvert for energy purposes.
Right.
But when it comes to gaming,
Right.
is specifically with MMOs, any kind of MMO, I have to be talking with people. There has to be a group of people, and I have to have that engagement.
Yeah.
Because the game itself doesn't have the gameplay to pull me in.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the single-player games, I can actually get vested interest.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there getting engaged in that. But with MMOs, I can't get that same level of engagement without people.
One thing that I thought was very interesting, that is very interesting about you, Ragaar, is last year and this year you're going to do another one, a little fun, like just kind of friends event called Thanks-a-Palooza. But what I thought was really cool about that was you were leaving for Washington, D.C., and you wanted to encourage your gamer friends to get together and play games together while you were gone. And a lot of introverts would not have done that because a lot of introverts, they want their separate pods of people, whereas extroverts are like, I have a mass of friends. Why can't we all hang out together at the same time all the time every day, you know?
Right.
So it was really kind of interesting to be able to sit down with some of the guys that you worked with or that you had played other games with, you know, for years that I had never met and be able to meet them. And even though we haven't really gotten together since then, it's still really cool to think that you would, as an introvert, that you would be willing to kind of let those lines blur.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of similarities between a lot of my groups, and I'm going to quote unquote say groups because they like to isolate themselves, and I wanted to try to pull the strings together and say, hey, you guys should really meet these guys, and these guys, you really need to check out this group.
Ambiverts, the way I kind of picture it, is a wedding reception.
Yeah.
The way we do things is I know everyone in the room, but I know this group from this place, I know that group from that place, and those people are going to hang out with each other.
Right.
So I'm going to go to a small, like you say, pod of people, and I can hang out with you for a quick sec. But those people are calling on me too, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time with you, and then head over here.
Right.
And now I'm at that group over there for a little bit of time, and just bounce back and forth. It is the wedding reception type.
I actually like that description. My first introduction, I never really made that connection, but my first introduction to this was in high school when there's, this concept of cliques, where there's the jocks and the geeks, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I could just mingle between all of them.
I was the exact same way.
That's why I call it
was
the chameleon.
exact same
It's
way.
that we can blend into anybody.
Yeah. I never let those social norms stop me from just like breaking through the wall. I mean, like when people talk about, yeah, 100%. Actually, that's exactly it. When people talk about, this person, they're just very inside the box. My response is always, dude, I haven't had a box, and I destroyed the crap out of that box. So,
my game
Stop
type,
it, Lance.
which is interesting. God, I'll wait.
Oh, goodness
And
gracious. And scene. Go ahead.
So it's funny because playing off of what Don was saying and what Ragaar was saying, I like a lot of similar games that both of them do, but there's a big element from a board game perspective. I'll play almost anything unless it's like hours and hours long strategy games.
The war game.
Exactly.
He won't play the war game with me.
I haven't played it yet. One day I will.
You have a
feeler in him
table
goes,
made
yet.
for it.
But-
You
I know that.
No, sir. One day you will not. 3 days. You will not.
But from a board game perspective, I prefer cooperative. That's the extrovert in me, probably more than anything, and the diplomat.
And the feeler. That's the feeler, too. You want people to get along.
The whole being the diplomat, exactly. I want everybody to get along. I'm not big on the whole beat each other up type. I just prefer the cooperative, but I like competitive in its place. When it comes to video games, unless they are like sports games, there has to be an end goal that's really easy to see down the line.
Yeah.
Because I've bought a lot of open world games because they're pretty and never
Yes,
effing finish them
he
because
has.
I can't find the end point.
Yeah.
Like it's
why- that's why I
200 hours away. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, that's why I had to stop playing Skyrim because I'm such a P that I don't even know what the main storyline is anymore. I've done so many side missions. Honestly,
See, with those style games, I try to adhere 100% to the main story.
right? Yep. Well, and that's why I like games like Assassin's Creed and things like that have a very linear and clear storyline that you have the option to like jump out and do a couple of these little side missions and stuff like that, and they will help you. But there's incentive to doing those. Like if you go and help out Leonardo da Vinci, you're going to get some really cool, like inventions and things like that will help you later on in the game.
You say that, but in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I reached one of the missions to face Blackbeard, and it's like, your ship's not upgraded enough. But it won't tell you what you need to upgrade.
Everything.
But
Cannons. The hull.
in order to upgrade it, you have to run the side
You have
missions,
to have-
which means you can't stay on the main
Covered
storyline.
You have to. That is true in part. There are certain things that you have to do in that game in order to upgrade your ship. But most of the time, if you just like fish around, no pun intended, honestly.
Wah, wah.
If you just kind of fish around for like trade ships and merchant ships and just destroy the crap out of them, you'll get everything you need. Because a lot of times it's like you need wood and you need steel for certain things, plus money.
Assassin's Creed Catan Edition.
Basically,
Exactly.
that's
Yes.
what I like about a game like Black Flag is there are some really cool side missions that you can do, but again, you're absolutely right. The hard thing is being able to pick and choose what you do and having to have certain goals that you have to reach in order to be successful in certain missions. Like, I think I know which mission you're talking about, where you have to follow Blackbeard around through a bunch of ships and stuff like that. And at the end of that run, you face off against this man of war that is just heinously powerful. And you just need higher defense and things like that to be able to do stuff like that. So, yes, Lance.
This is one of the things that Diablo 3 got right, is that you can power your way through the main plot and finish the game. And then you can go off on just the side quests if you want in adventure mode, which is what I think really would work well for you. I don't know if you've played it that way or not.
I haven't finished it.
But you can bolt through the story, so you can say, I finished the story. And then you can, I missed that side quest, there's an actual area where you can just do that side quest, and once you complete that, you come back and you get special stuff.
This is the reason why Joshy likes Madden and WWE, because
From a sports perspective,
if there is a storyline, there's no deviation from it. It's
Episodic.
just that. Yes,
and I
very
love
much
the
so.
Uncharted and
Yes.
Last of Us games. There are little things you can do off the
There's
side if you want to hunt.
achievements.
Right.
There's achievements,
But otherwise
it's
it's-
one story. It's one story. Yes, Deb.
Well, I was gonna. It's the other way around for me in that I want to do everything. When I play in a game, I want to find every little detail. I'm a completionist. In fact, I was the 101% on Super Mario World. You know who you are if you're out there. You know who you were, because it was at 100 and you knew there was one more little thing you had to discover.
Long distance high five.
Yeah, exactly. With Sims, I wanted to play as every single family in the neighborhood to
good
experience
luck.
exactly what, and it is. So I would play like 3 sim days in one family. Then I moved to 3 sim days in the other family because I wanted to
ridiculous.
experience them all.
I
Mario
also wanted to
Kart.
grow up the whole neighborhood together.
Yes, they needed to all
Before
grow up
they
together.
did it.
Correct. And they all needed to go to college together, and then they all needed to, absolutely, you want to do it evenly, and so you were making sure that they had the babies at the right, this is what, yes, yeah. It must be an
Sims,
SJ
Saved
thing.
by the Bell edition.
Yes. My current mission
Saved by the trash
is-
can edition.
My current mission is Mario Kart on the Wii, and I want to get 3 stars on every single cup at every single CC level. So that's where I want the detail. I want so when I watch my husband play a game, I can't. It drives me bananas because he'll like do part this and then he'll just run off and do something else, and I'm like, you still had half of that thing to do. Why didn't you finish the thing? Why are you over here now? I don't want to do
You
that
never
right
lose
now.
objectives.
Yeah,
you can always go back to that.
Right. I'm like, but you were so close to finishing.
Something about that is games like Mario Kart 64 did it right.
Yes.
I think some of the new Mario Karts,
Mario Kart 8 has been...
Mario Kart 8 was really good, but there's a special thing about Mario Kart 64. They did it right, and 8 didn't quite get there.
No, 64 is always my favorite.
Derek.
Yeah. What is it called? Super Mario Builder, or what is it?
Oh yeah, Mario Maker.
Mario Maker.
Mario Maker.
I am probably getting a Wii U just for that game.
Isn't it so much
Amen.
fun? Oh my gosh, it's addicting.
Yes.
I can't let myself play
I
it
have
too
an
much.
entire world done.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed.
You know, it's
Yes.
just Minecraft 2D, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But I was so bummed when Mega Man, the same type of thing, they were building a game in the same vein where you could build Mega Man levels.
Yes.
Yes, and then Capcom canceled it.
Oh no, I didn't realize they canceled it. I heard they were
Yeah.
going to do it.
No.
Well, there is Mega Man the board game coming out, which
There
is
is that.
Isn't that kind of the premise? You're
Well,
building your
it's a
own
little bit
levels?
You
different.
can build
than
the
that.
world, but the levels don't change. Like they're all
Right.
like you just add a new guy versus
Yeah,
like,
the-
you can
the
take
levels
Bomb Man
are
out and put
driven
Cut
by
Man
your
in or something like that.
deck or your cards or something.
What's that?
I think the levels or the creatures that you face in the levels is based on the cards.
For Mega Man the board game?
Yeah.
He actually learned to run it.
Oh, nice.
So the way that Mega Man the board game works is there are, I believe, 6. The starting game I think has 6 villains that you can face, 6 or 8, I can't remember, and then the expansions will add more. And then the objective is you have to defeat a certain amount of villains. I think it's 3 villains before you can face the Doctor in the middle.
Dr. Wily.
Yeah, Dr. Wily in the middle. And then, so each stage has, 6 different points that you have to complete. And the way that you complete them is you flip over a card that has, a villain, a monster or something like that you have to be able to defeat a certain way with dice rolls and card playing and stuff like that. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I didn't get a chance to play it very much at Gen Con, but I was doing a lot of UFS and other game demos and stuff like that for Jasco. But that is a very fun game. So
yeah, so I mean, to my architect mind, I mean, it just
absolutely.
Mario Maker is.
It's fun.
It's going to be amazing.
Fun. Yeah.
My only challenge with it, and it's because of my S, I'm sure, because you're intuitive, I'm a sensor, is there's so much. Sometimes I will almost get overwhelmed, I don't know what to do next. Do I build a wall? Do I build this? Do I do this? Yeah. There's so many possibilities that I'm just kind of overwhelmed, I think I'm just going to put a piranha plant in and I'll come back and look at it again in a second because there's just so much going on here. And so that's the only
I look
thing.
at that game and go, no, thank you.
And Carrie's like, too much. And so,
also, I'm a completionist, so if I can't complete it, I'm like, no, I'm not playing that game.
And I keep going back and keep correcting. Some levels are not quite perfect yet. I'm like, okay, I got to move the cloud there. I'm going to move the coin block 1 over. And so, oh yeah, it's a TJ's dream, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
I love that game.
Well, that's true.
Now, again, and maybe this comes out of the P nature, is that every one of my levels is 8 full lengths. Every one of them is the
longest it can possibly be.
And it just had, but they're all completable because you got to be nice to everybody. Everybody's got to be.
There has to be a way.
There has to be a way. There has to be a way for you to be able to beat it in order for you to be able to play it on the world.
Yeah, when you can upload to the Nintendo.
You can actually upload the levels to play
on their big server.
You can play other people's levels, and then when you play their levels,
more up my alley.
When you play their levels, you download them to your own, and you can actually modify them.
I've been watching YouTube videos of all that. I mean, they've been
they're awesome.
Some crazy
crazy ones.
The best thing, and for anybody really, but the best thing for me was the longer you play it when you start out, the longer you play it, the more stuff you get based on the time in which you're actually making stuff and playing it. And I'm like, well, then I'm never going to put this down.
Don just kept playing and kept unlocking all the new stuff. And I'm like,
just so you know, you have 5 deliveries while I was playing it for the last 3 hours.
Yeah, and now you can do the water levels, you can do the castle levels, you can do all these. Awesome.
Okay.
You just keep playing and I will get the stuff from it. My sensor's happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Don,
so much fun.
You made an interesting point that I think is funny, the difference between you and I, because I was watching you play that game and I was like, that looks really awesome, I definitely want to try it. But it was fun to watch you, but I was thinking to myself, I know me, and I know that my goal would be to make the most difficult level.
Yeah. I would play
it has to be beatable.
You have to be able to beat it.
No, I understand, but I mean, so I got a Super Nintendo when I was in the 2nd grade, and I still play it. Joey and I still play, and that's my